Not So Super asks, does your tongue fit in your mouth? You know, it's a little small. Hey there guys, Portalmaster here, and welcome back to my brand new relaunch of an old series known as Ask Portalmaster. I am so excited to be bringing this back. As you guys know, I've been on a bit of a hiatus from YouTube as of late, and now that I have decided to bring back some of my other videos, especially starting this new series, A Brief History of Skylanders, which if you haven't checked that series out, highly recommend checking that out, I decided that it also made sense to relaunch the series known as Ask Portalmaster so that you guys could ask me your questions and I could answer them in video format. So I put an announcement video out about 2 weeks ago, and I asked you guys to leave your questions down in the comments below. So today we're going to be reading those comments. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Our first question comes from Milky Way 2000, asking, do you have any ideas for a new Skylanders game for the console? Do I ever have ideas for this? Now, here's the thing. If this was the only question that we talked about today, this video would still be 15 minutes long like most of my other videos. Why are all my videos 15 minutes long, you might wonder? And it's because you can pretty much spit any idea at me and I can probably talk about it for 15 minutes regardless of what the idea is. This one is no different. This one I could probably go on for about an hour. So as a result, I have this running list of a document basically of questions or things that I would like to do full videos on. That is now on that list. So hopefully at some point I'll be able to answer your question in long form. In short form, I'll put it at this. I would want new figures that looked absolutely amazing and had some type of new technological innovation in them that made them really, really cool and exciting. I would create a game that has a ton of post-game content and also brings back battle mode in addition to having a lot of other fun modes. It would have the longest story campaign of any Skylanders game ever to date, and all of the characters would have unique and compelling reasons to upgrade them, not just gimmicky little upgrades. Essentially, this would be the dream Skylander game for me. Also, did I mention it'd be semi-open world? Shaky Shako says, do you have an idea for a Skylanders spin-off game? It could focus on a main character or a team, or it could be about a Skylander or a villain or even a non-Skylander. Do you have some type of idea? Tell us about it and what type of gameplay it would be. Okay, so I have two things that I think would be really, really, really cool for a spin-off Skylanders game. The first would be focusing on the Doom Raiders. I would love to have a chance to play as the bad guys, not just like in Skylanders Trap Team where you got to play as the bad guys as good guys. No, I mean, I want to play as the bad guys, do nefarious things. I think that'd be so cool to play from another perspective. Maybe even you have to fight the Skylanders at some point. I think that that'd be a very, very cool concept. The second idea that I have is actually for the minis. I think that sort of a mini game where you're playing as the sidekicks or the minis, whatever you want to call them, that would also be a very cool game. You go and do little, super secret missions because they're like little secret agent mini Skylanders. I think there's a lot of fun ideas to be had with both of those ideas. ThunderDragon17 asks, besides the series A Brief History of Skylanders, what other major content are you thinking of doing after this? Because, well, there's not really anything else from the SkyTubers right now other than Ring of Heroes, but, you know, what else would you be interested in doing? So this is largely going to depend on how successful A Brief History of Skylanders is. It's doing well, it's not doing as well as I'd like it to do, so do share that across the internet because the more views it gets, the more likely I am to do more types of content after A Brief History of Skylanders finishes. I have a couple of ideas for what I would do following Brief History of Skylanders. I actually have some ideas that I would actually add to Brief History of Skylanders to turn it from a 10-week series into potentially a 16-week series. So I already have ideas for that. I have another series that I don't really want to talk about right now, but it would still, of course, be related to Skylanders content. If you want to learn more about that, keep supporting Brief History of Skylanders, because that's how it's going to happen, essentially. Other than that, I am really, honestly, I'm open to ideas. The reason that I have tagged Brief History of Skylanders in the announcement video as the last video series that I've got planned for this channel is because, well, I don't really have any other ideas, and if you guys do, I would love to hear what you guys have to say. I've thought about maybe doing some like Skylanders gameplay before, but I'm not sure if the market is really there for that. But either way, if you guys have ideas, have things you'd like me to do, leave them down in the comments. Honestly, if you just have ideas that you'd like to leave in the comments of this video and say, hey, you should do this for your channel, what do you think about this? that's an acceptable question for the next episode of Ask Portalmaster, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say for that. So really and truly, I'm open to suggestions. Alright, Jeffrey says, fix your Skylanders Giants 3DS box. It annoys me. And I've spent many minutes pondering what this question is asking, because here's the box, right? I don't know what's wrong with it, guys. Like, the thing doesn't close all the way back here, but I can't get it to work, and I don't even, doesn't even show up on camera. Guys, I don't know what this is talking about. Please clarify. I'm like, I stared at it for a solid minute and was like, is there something wrong with it? I don't know, man. Please tell me what you're talking about in a little more detail, man. Davis Harper asks, have you ever regretted watching a movie, and if so, what movie do you regret watching? I had to think on this one for a second, because there's not a lot of movies that it's like, my life would have actually been better if I hadn't watched this movie. But, you know, then I thought of one. I realized there is one. Back during the Twilight craze, when Twilight was huge and everybody loved watching the Twilight movies, and when I say everyone, I really just mean 13-year-old girls liked to watch Twilight, there was a parody movie made called Vampires Suck. And I watched that movie, and that's the only movie that if I could just go back in time and tell, like, however old I was, hey man, look Thomas, don't watch this movie. I would. I really, really would. 0 out of 10, do not recommend. Henry Medina says, what animal or mythical creature should be a Skylander in a new Skylanders game? Giraffes. A giraffe Skylander. T-Rex asks, are you quitting Skylanders after a brief history of Skylands? So when I said that Brief History of Skylanders would be the last formal series that I had planned on this channel, what I just meant was I don't have any other long-form series that I have planned after I'm done with it. You know, I have other one-off videos that I have planned, but I don't have anything long-form. At the time I made that video, it was true. I have another series that may or may not end up happening. We'll see. But either way, I'm not quitting YouTube after I'm done with Brief History of Skylanders. I will still be doing YouTube on Portalmaster. I'll still be doing it on Board Game Basement too, which you should check out if you haven't already. This link is down in the description below. Go check out my second channel, pretty please. But, no. And see, here's the thing, like, I'm never gonna quote-unquote quit Skylanders because I'm probably never getting rid of this collection, to be perfectly honest with you guys. At this point, it just has so much sentimental value that even if it gets to the point where I'm like, I don't even like Skylanders anymore, if that ever... I'm dying. If that point is ever reached where I say I'm actually just tired of Skylanders and I don't really want anything to do with it anymore, this was for such a long time such a huge part of my life that I'm not getting rid of it. I mean, it envelops more than half of my room, really. So I'm not ever going to get rid of it. Even if I quit, I'm not going to quit, if that makes any sense at all. Hard Rich asks, did you ever complete Skylanders Imaginators in Nightmare Mode, and how many figures did you use in the final boss fight? See, I never did do Nightmare Mode for Imaginators, and that's why I think that people would actually enjoy me doing a playthrough of Nightmare Mode on these various Skylander games. I think you guys would really like that, and I'd be interested in doing that maybe someday, probably in stream format rather than episode format. But if that's something you guys would be interested in, let me know that down in the comments below as well, because maybe I can do that someday. Yourself Productions asks, if you had to get someone to play yourself in a movie other than you, who would it be? You know, I've been thinking about this question since I saw it asked on there almost 2 weeks ago. I really have. And I can't say I'm much closer to figuring out who I would want that to be than I was at the time. Like, there's part of me that just wants to give a joke answer, like Danny DeVito, right? Like, I'd have Danny DeVito play me, but I'm a little taller than Danny DeVito, just a little taller than him. Like a lot. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. How about this? If you guys know someone who should play me, leave that down in the comments down below too, because I would be interested in knowing who could play me in a movie. I'd really like to know. Zach Shadowkill asks, if you could have changed or improved Cinder and Dark Spyro's roles in Skylanders Academy Season 3, how would you? Okay, well, I have a huge issue with how they did Cinder in Season 3 of Academy. Because, first of all, she is, like you said, you know, I've said before, I would have made her more important. And that's very true. I would have made Cinder more important. But I think what I mean when I say I would have made Cinder more important is I mean she only showed up at the end of the series, or the end of the season, rather, and had a very minor role. I would have incorporated her throughout the whole season. There was no build-up to where she was sort of reintroduced in Season 3, and honestly, it was really lazy writing to just write Cinder in at the very end of the season. She should have been there from the get-go, struggling with her relationship with her father, Malefor. That should have been a theme that went through the entire thing, honestly, and it's lazy writing. Season 3, the more and more I realize it was actually just lazy writing on the showrunner's parts. It was not well written. I stand by that, to be perfectly honest with you. Secondly, how would I have changed Dark Spyro? I don't think that there was enough struggling of the character, because it's this build-up to when Spyro becomes Dark Spyro, and then he's just pure, you know, unrestrained evil for a while, and then all of a sudden they split apart and everything is back to normal. So it's kind of like, it was a lot of build-up for not a lot. And I don't like that Dark Spyro was only featured in the way that he was. I would have expanded his role, and I would have shown more of the character struggle post-transformation into Dark Spyro. I would have loved to have seen that personally. Stripey asks, what college courses are you taking? So, as a scientist and as someone who is majoring in a more difficult degree, I am a chemistry major. I am in some difficult classes this semester. I am in Organic Chemistry 1, which is like, everybody says it's awful. We'll see if it's as awful as they say it is. I am in Introductory Physics for Engineers. Also, tons of fun. And Calculus 3. So, all in all, great schedule. Also, I'm in some Spanish class because I transferred to a new university and they require Spanish. So that's wonderful, or the foreign language, and I'm taking Spanish as a result. So, you know, my schedule's gonna be lots of fun. The Kyle channel asks 3 questions, one of which has already been asked, so I'll just go on the 2 of them. First up asks, what's your favorite cartoon? Secondly, who is your favorite Skylander? Favorite Skylander, said it time and time again, obviously Enigma. Character design is just absolutely amazing. I wish that they had emphasized the character more in the animated side and sort of the, you know, marketing side. I think that would have been a cool character to explore more about, but it's Enigma. Secondly, what's my favorite cartoon? Hands down, no contest, Phineas and Ferb, best cartoon to ever exist. Don't at me on that. It's Phineas and Ferb. Nolan the Epic Portalmaster says, you said that you would be winding down your channel in your last video. Does this mean that you're done with Portalmaster? Because that's what it seems like. There seems to be a lot of confusion about this. Portalmaster isn't going anywhere until at least 2020. I have videos planned out for from now to the end of the year. And that includes videos other than Ask Portalmaster and Brief History of Skylanders. I have many videos planned, they're just not serialized like A Brief History of Skylanders. Obviously, if new information comes out about canceled Skylanders 7 or an actual Skylanders 7, I'm still going to be here, and I want to sort of keep like a low flame on this channel for if something like that ever does happen to pop back up. Portalmaster as a whole is just not going to be where it was 2 years back when I was able to just generate content. Like at the start of 2018, you may recall when I first got my camera, I was uploading a ton of content that honestly it was discussion content that had never been done before on YouTube about Skylanders. And I am just out of that type of content. I've spent 2 years now talking about a game franchise that hasn't had much of anything released for it since 2016, and there's only so much that you can talk about. So I am still trying to keep this thing alive, but there's not as much content to do as I'd really like there to be. Video Game Guy says, what are your top 3 Skylanders games? Alright, so in my opinion, the best 3 Skylanders games are hands down Swap Force is the best. Then I personally struggle to rank them beyond that. I know that in my opinion, Superchargers is the worst game. I think that for me it would probably be Swap Force and Trap Team, and then probably Spyro's Adventure. Giants, honestly, was just a scaled down version of Spyro's Adventure. Superchargers was a bad game to me, and Imaginators didn't really capture my imagination. Haha, see what I did there? So, in my opinion, I'll just say it again, Swap Force, Trap Team, and Spyro's Adventure. Jose Landers Salesman Peralta says, who are your favorite NPCs from Skylanders? My favorites are the Capybara King and Pipsqueak. I mean, this is obvious, isn't it? It's Flynn. How could it not be Flynn? Flynn is amazing! Patrick Warburton sells the character for me. Obviously it's Flynn. 7Nation07 says, will you be streaming Pokemon Sword and Shield, and are you going to be doing more Let's Plays like what I did with Starlink? Streaming is a very interesting beast with me right now because I'm not sure how to actually go about it. Right now we have this platform war going on between Twitch and Mixer, but also I'm still struggling to figure out if I stream, am I going to continue doing it on this channel? Am I going to try to launch a new platform? And also, I'm trying to focus on launching the Board Game Basement, my other YouTube channel, and also there may even be another YouTube channel coming sometime soon in the works. So, there's a lot going on right now, and I'm not sure if streaming fits into it, but if I ever do feel the need to stream, I will probably stream at some point. I just don't know what it will be of. I am getting Pokemon Sword and Shield. Maybe I'll stream it. Maybe I won't. We'll see. Secondly, though, you did ask more Let's Plays like I did with Starlink. I would love to do Let's Plays of, like, the old Skylanders games or even new stuff. But again, it just comes down to timing, and I've got to figure out what works and what doesn't and where I'm going to do it on this channel or something new. There's a lot to figure out, and I'm sort of in the middle of a transitional period right now, both in terms of my actual life and on YouTube. So it's interesting. Please bear with me while we get this figured out. Andrew Burton says, 2 questions. What are your favorite Skylanders from each game, and how many Imaginators did you make? I'm going to answer the second question first. I only ever made a few Imaginators because I'm so scared of ever actually making them, because then you're locked into them with the creation crystals. Seriously, Activision shot themselves in the foot so hard by doing that. I could still rant on that for a day if I wanted to. Secondly, who are my favorite Skylanders from each game? Alright, from Spyro's Adventure, Whamshell. From Giants, Fright Rider. From Swap Force, Smolderdash. From Trap Team, gotta be my boy Enigma. From Superchargers, how could it be anyone except Thrillipede? And then from Imaginators, it's gotta be Flarewolf. Finally, Memetastrophe says, what would your prediction of Season 4 of Skylanders Academy have been if it was announced? Honestly, it's a shot in the dark here because they could have gone multiple ways with the next series or season of Academy. They could have gone off with Spyro and they could have let him do his thing with Eon, or they could have focused on the Skylanders without Spyro. Personally, I'm not sure which would have been a more interesting season to have done. I think that the Skylanders without Spyro would have been a very interesting path to explore, especially since in the later games that's kind of how it felt since Spyro took a back seat in the later games, and I think that that would have been a really cool thing to do. I really think that having Cassandra lead the Skylanders would have been a really interesting thing to have explored, and I think that the main focus would have just been sort of a changing of the guard of the original Skylanders. They probably would have switched up the cast a little bit, had a few different characters, and I think that that's what they would have explored in Season 4 if they had done it. So that's my prediction for what would have been Skylanders Academy Season 4. Alright guys, so that is all the questions that you guys asked me last time for this episode of Ask Portalmaster. If you want me to have questions for the next episode, please do be sure to leave those down in the comments below. As I said in the announcement video, Ask Portalmaster will be done every other month from here on out. So this month is August. Expect the next episode of Ask Portalmaster to come in October. Should hopefully be October 15th. And then finally there will be another one in December 15th, which will basically be around the end of my school year, or semester. So hopefully, I'll have some good stuff to come in the next 2 episodes. But in order for there to be good questions, you have to leave those questions down in the comments below, so please do be sure to do that. While you're at it, be sure to stay tuned because I've also got a ton of content coming for A Brief History of Skylanders over the next 2 months until we get the next one out. We'll probably be finishing up A Brief History of Skylanders, potentially announcing the extension if all goes well. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. I hope you guys will enjoy all the content coming to this channel in the near future. For now, that's all I have for you guys today. This has been Portalmaster. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and shout out to all my patrons on Patreon, especially Portal Power TV, and do be sure to subscribe to my second channel, The Board Game Basement. That's all for now. See you guys next time.